No, you're going to go play with your toys. Bring me a toy. Bring me your toys. No, come here. Good girl. Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Sun City in Arizona. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1224, beginning week 6. What does that mean? It means today is day 1 of week 6 of my 7-week course that I am doing in genealogical principles. I am having a blast. Got my grades back on the 2 assessments that we had, and I got, 100 minus 4, 96. I missed one question. I got one question wrong. I don't know, doing assessments when I shouldn't have been doing assessments. Let's just put it that way. But I got my assessments in on time, well on time yesterday and everything else. Then I got caught up in the discussions. So in the discussions that were going on. So I did not get a chance to watch Spectre last night. So as soon as we finish this, we're going to get some dinner and we're going to sit down and we're going to enjoy Spectre. We just went live about half an hour ago, I think it was, with Zeffie unboxing her BarkBox stuff, which was absolutely hilarious. It's so much fun watching her unbox that stuff because you just open the box and she just goes to town, pulls stuff out, starts chewing on it, ripping labels off. She's got the whole shebang. But she had a big box and the small box. And the small box was like a typical November box. And then she had the big box, which had all of the extra stuff that I purchased in there for her, including some Mandalorian characters. Like there was the bounty hunter helmet as a hard chew toy, and she's enjoying that. Then there was the Mandalorian doll, the bounty hunter doll, and then there was the baby Yoda. And this one actually has a strap that goes around her body, and she was chewing on it, and I took it off her, and then she allowed me to. We finally got it on her, and then for the rest of the video, she just totally ignored this thing on her back. Totally ignored it. Back into the box, pulling stuff out. There was Christmas stuff in there. We've even got an advent calendar for her. Each day she gets a dog treat. So we opened up number 1 and she just stuck her nose in there and took it out and went and chomped on it. So it's always fun unboxing a bark box with her because you never know what she's going to do. But the bark boxes had been sitting there since the Friday before I left. She had already gone to the dog sitters that morning. And then after I left there, I went over and picked up the mail, and those 2 bark boxes were there. And so I thought, we'll have to wait till we get back. But when I brought her home yesterday, she just went and sniffed around and didn't pay any special attention to them. And then today she completely ignored them. But when we got home from our walk this evening, she went straight to them and started sniffing them. Like, these are my boxes. And so I got some good fun after photographs too of her with her loot. Laying there, and one of them, she's got 2 paws across them, like mine. I thought, you can't get more of a possessive dog than one laying there. And now she doesn't know what to do with all these toys because there's just way too many of them. So, but the cool part about her getting new toys every month is I can get rid of some of the old crappy ones that she has. Because I don't go to the pet store much to get her toys and things. So this is nice because BarkBox delivers, and it's new toys every month. There's a couple of new toys in there every month, and so now I can start getting rid of all the old crappy ones that she has. Although she does enjoy pulling them out every now and again and going nuts with them. It's the weirdest thing. Like she had this duck thing that had a squeaker in its head. Now the head's been removed from the body. And she'll walk around with the duck head in her mouth and suddenly just shake it and it'll go flying across the room. And she'll be like looking all around and for it. And yeah, she's just a little crazy like that. But so some of her older toys will start disappearing, except her really, really favorite ones. The ones she hasn't played with for a while, those will quietly disappear. And she'll be left with newer and newer toys. But yeah, she has a lot of fun with them. And she has now figured out how to deactivate a squeaker without ruining the toy. So before she used to rip the toy open and take out all the stuffing to find the squeaker, and then take the squeaker out, destroy the squeaker, and then she'd think about playing with the rest of it, the rest of the toy. Now she's figured out how to deactivate the squeaker without damaging the outside of the toy, which I think is pretty smart. I mean, she does it with tennis balls. With the tennis balls that squeak, she deactivates the squeaker on those. I don't know how the heck she does it. But she's figured out how to do that. You're a smart girl. Like she figured out how to get out of her crate when she was at the sitters. And I'm like, I haven't even set up her crate yet either. That's probably what she's waiting on to. The place is a bit of a mess because we came home and just sort of dump stuff in places and haven't really unpacked. That'll be this weekend's job of getting the place back in alignment again. But started week 6 of the genealogy class, and we've got 3 lessons, and I'm already over halfway through, about 3/4 of the way through lesson 1. And they actually give you on the first day, they give you a plan. So like this plan is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, lesson 1, reread it, rewatch the videos, then go ahead and partake in the discussion that's taking place. Because we're now getting graded, starting last week, we're now getting graded on the discussions. And we won't get our grade for the discussions from last week until either Wednesday or Thursday, I think it is. I think it's either 48 or 72 hours they wanted us to give them before they posted those grades. But the assessment grades are already posted. They posted the very first thing the next morning. But I keep going back and checking. And so some people already started the discussions, and I haven't even gone and read them yet because I want to form my own opinions and stuff. Usually we get given a series of questions. We get given a document that we need to examine, get a series of questions. We're given a series of questions, and then we pick one question to look at. Like last week, one of the discussions was on a marriage registration. It was a marriage certificate. It was a marriage registration page, and it had been transcribed. And so it had like headings and stuff that were typeset, and then it had places where the blanks were filled in by penmanship. So we had to decipher what the penmanship said, and we had to pick out of here, which is the genealogy standards book. They gave us 4 different standards that we had to go and have a look at, and we had to pick one. We had to pick one thing in the document and put which standards it was not in compliance with. And that was kind of interesting. And everybody was talking about all the typos that were in there, and what it actually said is very clear. It says this, but it doesn't say this. And so there was all these different, and what you would do differently. And I'm looking at this document and I'm thinking, okay, everybody's going to go after the typos. What's something else I can go under? So I went and reread those standards, and I went back and went, I know. And so I picked out 2 of the standards because there was no citation on the transcription of where the certificate was found, where this marriage record was found. Yes, it was issued by the state of New York, but there was nowhere did it say where it was found. So if I wanted to go and look at the original, because in some places on the image of the photocopy, we had an image of a photocopy to look at. There was faded writing. Yet if I had if I was able to go and look at the original, maybe the faded writing would be clear, not as faded, and we would be able to make out some more of the letters that were missing or some of the words. So we wouldn't have to guess. We wouldn't guess anyway. But we could put in square on transcriptions. We have to use the square brackets if we're adding our own details or editorial notes in there. So I thought there's no citations in here. And so I had to look through the things and went, yeah, they do talk about citations. There's no citations. So I wrote about the citations because I know it's an area that I am improving on. I'm not going to say I'm weak in it. I am improving on my citations and keeping track of where I go and writing down detailed notes of where I go, so that when I do the citation up at the end, somebody could come along, pick up that citation and go straight to wherever the document is. And so I said, there's no citations here. And I said, I know it's an area that I myself am improving in, which is why I noticed it, because when I'm working on improving something, I always notice that detail missing from other things that I'm doing. And go, oh, that's where we should do this. That's where we should do that. So I'm taking more notice of citations and if they're there or not. So I noticed that those citations were missing, and I was like, So I wrote my little piece on citations and what I would do and why I would want it to. And, one of the things I would put in there is that when I found if the citation was there, I would then go back and look at the original document to see if the faded letters were any clearer on the original than they were on the image of a photocopy. So we're looking at a digital image of a photocopy of the certificate. Excuse me. So, yes, I'm waiting to hear back on that. And then we also had to respond to other discussions that were going on as well. So, excuse me. Then there was a timeline we had to look at. And the timeline we had to look at? Yeah, that was the one before. What's the other one we had to do? There's another one we had to do. Can't remember. But anyway, so it's kind of interesting looking at this stuff and learning the different, and not only just because I've read this in the past, but now that with this entire course, we're actually putting into practice a lot of these standards. They'll turn around and say, you know, go and write this in accordance with standard number whatever. Like one we have to do is standard number 10. And standard number 10 is about effective research questions. So this week we're looking at research questions, a research plan, and coming up with a research question and a research plan. And that's what our first discussion is going to be on. So I still have a window open because that was really loud. But I don't have the window over the sink closed. It sounds like I've got an open window. And I think my awning's still out. So this week we're talking about effective planning, research planning, and coming up with the research question first, then coming up with a research plan, which is things that I'm starting to work on now with clients. Is what one detail do you want? You know, don't just say, "Oh, I want to find out all the information on this person." No, what is the actual information? You know, do you want to know if John Smith is who was married to? No, hang on. It was Sally Black who was married to John Smith in 1820 in New Hampshire. The same Sarah Black that was the daughter of, and have the parents' names listed. So things like that. And it's a little broad, but specific. And then deciding on what's the plan of action to go and do that. But you have to leave the to-do list very fluid, because as you're researching and you come across some records that's going to say, oh, I need to also, this record has now prompted me that I now need to go and research this area as well. And that may also give me clues or hints or tips or answers to my question. So basically you come up with a hypothesis and a theory, and going and proving it or disproving it, whichever the case may be. So it's very, very interesting, because I've never done research this way before. So it's very much of an eye-opener. And the fact that each week we're given standards in here that we have to comply with, or we have to learn about, and we have to analyze records and stuff. Are they in compliance with those standards, and why or why not? Makes it very interesting, and is helping it stick more, because instead of just reading through the book, which I've already done, I can't remember half of what's in there, because I haven't applied, I literally have not applied it in some areas because I didn't fully understand it. But this 5 weeks so far and into this week have made those things a lot clearer. Yes, we have talked about some of the standards in different classes and things that I have done and how to apply them, but I haven't been given exercises in which to actually put it into practice, because I didn't understand the practice behind the standards. And so this course is all about genealogical principles and diving deep into these standards and how they're used, and being instructed on how to use them, or how to do the research so that you are in compliance with these different standards and how these different standards come into play. It's very interesting. Some of you are probably going, well, that sounds really boring. That's why we're all unique. We're all different. We all have our own things. There's things that other people do that I think that is as boring can be, but they love it, and that's their niche. That's their lane. I'm all for it. So it's very, very interesting learning more and more about this, and I'm actually finding it a lot of fun. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm already at week 6 out of 7 weeks. Next week's going to be interesting because we're into DNA next week, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I was mucking around, and I got a lot of study done today. Like I said, I got about 3/4 of the way, about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way through lesson 1. And they said, I think in the plan it said Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, lesson 1, Friday, Saturday, lesson 2, Sunday, Monday, lesson 3. I think that's how it worked out. But yeah, it's a go at your own pace. This is the deadlines. Go at your own pace. They don't want you doing a cramming study, which is what I've been doing the last 5 weeks, because every week I have had something on either the weekends, during the weekdays, where I've haven't been able to do study because of some event that was on, or traveling, driving, all of that sort of stuff. This week will be my first full week to be able to actually plan out. And even though I have the study times in my calendar and everything else, I will actually be able to sit down and go, this is study time. And I don't have to worry about cramming because I don't have any all-day events coming up. Saturday is free and clear and is just devoted to study time. which means I can get all my study done on Saturday and maybe have a Sunday free. Yay! Sunday's my backup day if anything goes wrong during the week. So I'm kind of looking forward to this week because it's going to be a normal week, whereas week 1 through 5 have been anything but normal, with events midweek, events on weekends, traveling, weddings. Last weekend I was traveled on Saturday, had the wedding on Sunday. Monday I was driving down to San Diego, from LA to San Diego, doing the stuff in the storage unit. So I had very little study time built in, and I still had to get my assignments in that day on the Monday. Thankfully, Sunday morning, I kind of had a little time to get stuff done because the wedding wasn't until, we didn't have to be there till like 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock is when the cocktail party started. So 5 p.m. So I had a little wiggle room there. But yeah, so this is the first week out of 7 that I've had where I've had no midday stuff except for my normal routines, no special events. So like, yes, I can actually plan and not have to cram. Yay! But I actually got, I was up at 5. Zeffie was still in bed at 8 o'clock this morning. I went in there and when I get up, I just throw her blankets all over her, just like literally bury her in her blankets. And I went in at 8 o'clock and she wasn't even, and just her head was showing out of the covers and she was asleep. And so I turned the little light on and just started talking to her and went over to her and just started petting her and just waking her up and I got a photo of her head out of the covers because it had been under the covers for a while. Her head out of the covers, and then she kind of like partially sits up. And I'm like, oh, we're getting ready to go. And I'm sending my friend Kathy these pictures. Oh, look, we're ready to go. And then the next picture is her laying back down in the blankets again. I go, no, we're not. So, but the funny thing is that when she wakes up and she gets up, she's like, right, let's go. I'm ready. And you may still be getting dressed. And she'll be in and out of the bedroom like, what are you doing? What's taking so long? Come on, let's get going. Like, she'll still be asleep when I go in there to get changed or to have a shower or whatever. And then when I'm out of the shower, she's up and ready to go. And I've still got to dry off and get dressed. And she's like going backwards and forwards, up onto the dash, checking things out there, coming back and checking on me, up to the dash, checking things out there, coming back and checking on me. And she will do this until I literally walk out of the bedroom with my shoes, my clothes on and my shoes on, and do the last little bits to get us ready to go out the door. So it's a process. So I'm trying to figure out how to quietly go into the bedroom and get showered and dressed and without disturbing her, and then being ready and saying, come on, let's go. And having to wait on her to get moving. So yeah, it's kind of funny. So the life of a dog. So I'm now off to have some dinner and watch Spectre, and I've got a few toys down there to pick up. Can't believe how many toys were in. I didn't realize I had ordered so much for her. But yeah, the advent calendar was funny though, because I basically punched my finger through the hole and ripped up the top, and she stuck her nose in there and pulled out her treat, and that was it. She was done. So that was day 1. It's a 25-day advent calendar. We're a few days behind the starting. But anyway, I'm out of here. Have a super fantastic sparkling evening. Go out, enjoy yourselves. Snuggle up, keep warm, whatever it is you want to do. I'm going to go figure out why I didn't close my window, bring my awning in, have some dinner, sit down and watch Spectre tonight. And we'll worry about cleanup on the weekend. I'm just going to make sure the heat vents are clear and for now, and that's it. And maybe this weekend we'll get Zeffie's crate done and I can see what damage she did to the front door of it. Anyway, have a good evening, and we will catch you guys tomorrow evening around 6 p.m. Pacific time. Hey, Konara.